Tonight, we are super excited to welcome Ken Domik, a YouTuber who's known for his popular channel, KBD Productions TV, where he reviews fast food, pizza, candy, and all kinds of different foods.
That's me.
That is you. Ken, thank you so much for coming in this week. I know we've known each other for a few years through working at Henry's and all the gear that you've picked up from us. Thank you for that, by the way. But you do so much more than we can ever talk about in the store. And we're going to talk about that on the show tonight.
Awesome.
Before we get to that, though, I just want to say hello to Aurora and Ryan, who are obviously co-hosts with us tonight. Thanks, guys, for being here this week. And let's find out what you've been up to. Aurora, what have you done this week? What's any big news? Any vacations? Any things you've done possibly?
You're feeding right into this. So at the beginning of my week, I was camping. I was in Civil Point. I was there for 2.5 days. I went right after I had a shoot on Sunday, and then spent Sunday night there. Made all sorts of awesome food, campfire cooking, and that kind of thing. So it's a lot of good food, and then
we'll let Ken be the judge of that. Actually, Ken review the food that you had and let us know about
Monkey bread, campfire food.
Yeah. I made campfire baked potatoes. I made campfire apple crisp and melty chocolate banana in the campfire.
Okay, I haven't had dinner yet.
Too, but that's like
melty chocolate banana. I've never heard of that.
I don't know how to call it, but it was like you take the banana, put it in foil, you put chocolate, you put graham crackers, you put like other stuff in it, and put it in the campfire.
I got a new snack to try by the sound of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Just make sure you do it outside campfire, not inside.
No inside campfires.
No, not good.
That would be bad. But otherwise, a great week. I went back to work, and it was a pretty standard week.
I went back to work and meh.
We reopened. Not reopened. The stores have kind of more lax guidelines right now. No minimum capacity. It's just social distancing and stuff. So that's been kind of interesting.
Yeah. Definitely interesting is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Ryan, how about yourself, man? What have you been up to this week?
This week it's been pretty crazy. Obviously, with work, I've been mourning the unfortunate loss to the Stanley Cup Finals that the Montreal Canadiens suffered. So I'm
we
still
gave
kind of
you
reeling
so
from
much
that.
time for that. I know.
But I'm happy to be back on the show. I've missed you guys. It's been too long. I feel like I've only been a part of one episode over the last month.
One, but a good one. And congratulations on how far the I want to say the Leafs went, but you don't care about the Leafs. The Habs, how far they went this year. Good run. Great fun games.
I'll take all the credit for that.
As you should. As every Montreal fan does. All right. Nothing big for me this week. Pretty much just the same old, getting through the day. As Aurora says, retail's opened up. So I got to say this. What's really frustrating in our world of retail right now is everybody's like, oh, I bet business is picking up. I bet it's getting busier. Like, business would have been fantastic if stock was available pretty much throughout, in my opinion. The hard part is getting the inventory into a store. And unfortunately, customers don't quite understand that COVID had a lot to do with that. So hopefully that'll level off soon. Time will tell. And I know our purchasers are probably working their butts off making it happen. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I also think that people just there's a lot of people out there who thought we weren't open, even though we've been open for
it's true.
For in-store shop. We've been open since last May, basically, like some of our Henry stores. So
and even the ones that weren't open for in-store, we were doing curbside.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. It's but we had a rush when we reopened for in-store shopping. And then now that it's just like looser restrictions, I think it's not making a big difference for traffic. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully people are happy. Hopefully there's no new cases. Newmarket is 2 weeks case-free, which is fantastic. No new cases, no current cases. So that's exciting.
Very.
All right. Speaking of exciting, we've got one of the most popular food reviewers from YouTube here with us today. And I've been looking forward to this since the minute you said yes. And thank you again for doing that. Ken, do me a favor. tell the world who you are and what your current specialty is.
First of all, it was an easy yes for you, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
Not a problem. So I guess I started doing, I heard about this thing called YouTube and started watching it, and then realizing that there were people out there making money on this. And I'm like, if they could do that for a living, then I could do that for a living. And then it took me many, many years to find my niche. I tampered with skits, cat videos, of course. I started doing roller coaster videos. And of course, there's only so many roller coasters you can do when you live in Canada. and I didn't have the money to travel around the world and go on roller coasters all over the place. So, and people only watch roller coaster reviews during the summertime. So you'd see this influx of views during the summer, and then it would die during the winter time. I'm like, well, I got to find something that people do all the time. And so my son found this really cool game called Minecraft. And so I think I ended up doing about 800 Minecraft videos on my channel. So it literally stopped being anything else but a gaming channel. And then every once in a while, something weird would come out. Like the very first food review I did was Tim Hortons came out with the breakfast sandwich, which was directly competing with McDonald's, because people, as you know, would go to McDonald's, grab their Egg McMuffin, then drive over to Tim Hortons, get their coffee, and go to work. And so Tim Hortons wanted to take that part away from McDonald's. And of course, I thought that was such big news. I did it more of a news thing than I did as a food review. And I also wanted to see if it was any good. And then from there, people just kept asking me to do more stuff. And the Double Down came out. And so I did that. And the videos were so bad. Like, I think the first one I did with the Canon 5D back when it first came out with video, and I had this huge 5D stuck to my windshield with this big suction cup thing upside down, and you couldn't see it, so you had to like guess if it was pointing at you, and then the next one I did with a cell phone, and then from there I think I just graduated to a GoPro, which I actually bought from your former manager with Nathan way back in the day. So and I shot with GoPros from then on. And then again, everybody just kept asking me to do more and more food reviews. Like, hey, I want to see you eat the Big Mac. And I'm like, everybody knows what a Big Mac tastes. Yeah, but I want to see you eat it. I'm like, okay. So I did it, and it did well. And then, oh, you got to do the secret menu item. What the hell is a secret menu item? Oh, you got to do the McGangbang. And I'm thinking, oh, now I thought people were trolling me, right, with these names.
No, it's a real thing.
Yeah, so I started looking it up. I even remember talking to my mom about it. I'm like, people want me to do this thing called a McGangbang. Mom's like, oh no.
I can see Brian. Sorry, just Googling it now. Maybe you should explain what it is to Brian, just to save him the trouble.
Actually, there's
you
more
might wind
to
up in some weird internet areas there just by searching it. So maybe we should just explain.
Yes.
So a secret menu item is just something that's just not on the menu. Some McDonald's and some, like, the secret menu items across the whole fast food industry. Some places will make it if you ask for it. Some places will be like, nope, you have to buy it separately and then put it together yourself. So McDonald's will not make, as far as I know, McDonald's will not make a gangbang for you. So you have to get a McDouble and then just ask for a junior chicken patty, and then you just put the junior chicken patty in between the two patties of the McDouble, and you've got yourself a McGangbang. And then it costs, back then when I first did it, was $2.90, and it's kind of a lot of food. And I'm like, for $2.90, like that's, and kids like once people saw the video, people have been doing it before I came along, but because I pimped it out big time, it's got like, I don't know, I think it's over 1 million views now. So like lots of people when they go to McDonald's, that's what they get, because it's cheap and it's a lot of food and it tastes great.
So when I grow up, I want Urban Dictionary to say something about me. Have you read what Urban Dictionary says about when you type in Ken Domik?
No.
Okay, so I won't read the whole thing, but they definitely referenced the McGangbang review.
Oh.
Yeah. So
the negative side, when you're on Urban Dictionary.
Or something. The negative side of what you do. Now, you mentioned earlier that people ask for it. People kept asking you for it. In my world, like, I've done some YouTube stuff in the past, never had any followers. It's never really clicked for me. But when I say people have asked for it, it's usually 2 or 3 people in my community have said, hey, would you do something? When you say people have asked for it, what are we talking about numbers wise of how many people would come to you and say, hey,
sometimes it'd be one person. And again, back in the day, I had like maybe 800 subscribers. And then, somebody would say, can you eat this? And so I'd be like, okay. And so I would shout them out in the next video. Hey, Brian asked me to do the McGangbang. And so actually, I was actually afraid to say the word, thinking YouTube would ban my video or whatever. So I was really paranoid about that video.
No, we'll be sure to hashtag it in our notes. We'll make sure.
Yeah, go for it. It's a searchable item. So, and then Aurora just happens to watch the video and says, oh, Brian asked for something, and Ken shouted him out. So she'll ask for something. And then it literally took off. And at one point I was getting, I think it was 2014, 15, I was getting like 23,000 subscribers a month.
Wow.
Quite a few months. Or no, was it that high? No, I think it was 17,000. It was like 750 subscribers a day at one point. And I was just like, insane. Wow, this and the projection was I was going to hit 1 million within like 2 years or something like that. And then it just plateaued. So people just people get sick of everything. So, everything has its run. And then once the run is over, people just stop watching, but they stay subscribed for some reason. I'm glad they stay subscribed because, again, I've got almost 550,000 subscribers right now. And I'll put out a video and I'll definitely get 50,000 views. But depending on what it is, it will drive it further if it's something really crazy and exciting. So, again, just recently somebody said, hey, I want to see you eat at a gas station for 24 hours. And I'm like, okay, well, why eat at one gas station? Let's eat at 3 different gas stations. And I did that, and that did really well. And then I said, well, the next stage is let's go to the States. And so I went across 3 different major gas stations in 3 different states south of Lake Ontario. And then that one did really well. And then somebody said, oh, you got to go to the world's biggest gas station or truck stop in Iowa. And so I literally that day I booked a ticket, flew to Iowa the next week, went to this gas station in February, this truck stop, and it's like a huge mall, and it's a truck stop. It's made for truckers, and I think they can fit up to 500 to 1,000 trucks in this parking lot. And it's just the biggest truck stop in the world. So I just lived there for a day, ate all the food as much as I could. And I did their buffet. And then they have like a mall, like a food court in there with all the different kinds of foods. And they got, truck parts, and you can get detailing. Like it's a crazy, typical American, huge, out of control building. And that one got 1 million views really, really quick. And then everybody's like, hey, you got to go to Buc Ees in Texas because that's the biggest gas station in the world. And they've got like 90 pumps. And it's like the size of a Walmart, but it's a gas station. And everything's Buc Ees. Everything's Buc Ees related. So you get a shot glass. It's got Buc Ees on it. Mugs, T-shirts. The food's got stamp of Buc Ees on it. Like Texas loves their Buc Ees. And that video took off. And radio stations were talking about me. And hey, this Canadian... Our Buc Ees is so famous. This Canadian came down and just to eat at Buc Ees all day long, and that video did really well too. So, and then I just kind of and then everything's plateaued for a bit, and then now I'm starting to do these stealth camping videos. So you got to keep changing. You got to keep adapting. Some channels can continue doing the same thing forever. For some reason, I can't. I got to keep evolving somehow, and sleeping in my van, eating at Walmart. Last one I did was Walmart for 24 hours. So, I ate the pre-made foods that they had, and then I also bought foods and cooked them in my van. So
that's right. You've got a setup. Tell us about your stealth van.
It's a 2011 Chrysler Town and Country that I converted into basically a camper, but it can't look like a camper. It's all about stealth camping. Is you can, because you see cars everywhere, but you have no idea if somebody's sleeping in them if they've turned it into a stealth camper. So it's not illegal to sleep in your car. It's if you're trespassing, then it's illegal. And there were, I think I went to 4 different Walmarts, and two of them had signs up saying no overnight parking. The other two didn't. So Newmarket and Aurora didn't have signs up, but I ended up doing the Aurora one. And so I lived there for 24 hours.
Thanks to you, now we're going to start seeing signs in those places, right?
That's the way I look at it is if I'm trying to make sure people understand, and hopefully when people see that video, they realize that I didn't purposely stay somewhere where it was illegal to stay.
Right.
Not necessarily it was illegal. It's more like, the owner of this property doesn't want people sleeping in their car overnight in their parking lot. So I'm trying to teach people to respect that. And obviously, don't throw all your throw all your crap out the thing when you're done and leave, which some people do, right? And those are the people that cause the problem for everybody else. So, like, there's a lot of people that literally sleep in their vehicle every day for years, and unfortunately, the people that cause problems make it harder for those people who actually rely on being able to stop somewhere and sleep. There are places you can and can't do it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of places you just can't because people have wrecked it.
No, I'm kind of curious. Have you ever had any issues while doing these overnight trips? Because obviously you're putting yourself in some vulnerable positions at points, I would think, when you're in a parking lot overnight. And
I'm scared every time. Every time I park, I'm like, I'm paranoid, right? So I first started. I had a Volkswagen Tiguan, and that was the first time I slept in a vehicle, and again, that was probably the worst sleep I had out of all of them, because I'm like, I can't believe I'm sleeping in my car in a parking lot. And I think it was McDonald's was first, and that wasn't bad because it was like almost like a 24-hour McDonald's. I guess it's the one on the north end of Newmarket. So, and I parked in such a spot that I wasn't really in anybody's way. I wasn't doing anything illegal, and I was kind of not hidden, but still mixed with other cars, so that I felt totally safe there. Then I did Burger King in Bradford, and just as I was about to go to bed, I realized I am the only parked car in the middle of this huge parking lot. It's like a sore thumb, right? And those are the ones that scare me the most, because people are like, why is that car there all by itself?
Yeah.
And then I bought the Atlas, which is a much nicer car than my Tiguan. And then I did two like stealth camp overnights, but in like -5, -9 weather, which I couldn't believe I did, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
that's a little insane.
yeah, it was. And then I woke up and I couldn't see out the windows because it had snowed, and then I could hear the snow plow coming, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to get out of here so he can do his job. Again, I'm trying to be respectful. I was hoping it didn't snow just for that reason, because obviously the snow plows had to come really early in the morning to clear the parking lots. But I didn't want to wreck my Atlas. It's my favorite. It's my nice car, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let's try this whole van life, stealth camping. And I'm like, well, I need to buy the crappiest van I can get, the cheapest van I can get, and then do it for a bit. And then if it works, if I start getting lots of views and make money on it, then I can sell that one and then buy like a bigger van. I just didn't want to buy, like everybody's telling me to buy a Sprinter, but they're like $70,000 brand new and up, depending on what you have in it, right? And then if you want to deck it out, right? Yeah, it's like, I'm like, well, that's why I bought the 2011 Chrysler, but it's falling apart. Which I only bought it. I think it was listed for $4,800, and then I had to put about $3,000 into it for brakes and wheels and all that stuff. So, but I've made more than that right now on that. So again, the money I've made on it, I'm gonna now fold it back over into buying maybe a cargo van. I call them panel vans. I don't know what you guys call them, but I guess they're called cargo vans. Maybe like I don't know, GMC Ford or something, and something a little bit older than just for. I was
going to say you should get like a 1986 Dodge maxi van, extended cab maxi van. My father was a traveling salesman for my entire life, and he always had this Dodge. He put 400,000 kilometers on that thing, traveling all over Ontario, and he had it set up with like a camper inside. You could pull a little thing out, and there's the bed, and there's the back area for his leather jackets, for his supplies. I mean, they're huge inside. I'm selling you a car now. Listen to me. I'm always selling you something.
That's so cool. It sounds like.
The best thing about the van that I got is it's like there's a whole lot of them, so I could be parked anywhere and doesn't stick out at all. Like people are like I put my bike in the van. I've got a cot. I've got a fridge. I've got all the things I need to survive. And people have kept saying, well, the bike's taking up room. Put on a bike carrier. I'm like, well, that's not stealthy, is it? It's like everything you own has to be inside that van. And when the van is parked in the parking lot, there can't be anything standing out on it at all. Nothing to show that it's a camper. As soon as they see that, then people come knocking, right? And again, nobody's going. Circling back to Ryan's thing, I've never had any issues. I've never had anybody knock on the door or ask me to leave. So again, I'm trying really hard to behave and park in the right spots and not bug anybody, and like I said, not stick out like a sore thumb. So,
but have you been
very fortunate
recognized?
to hear that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, people. I did when I did the 24-hour Wendy's in Newmarket. I had to do a live show. I have members now for my channel, and so I give them a special 1 hour every Wednesday for 1 hour, 4 till 5, members only live chat. And so I parked at another end of the parking lot up against the wall. And so there's nothing recognizable about this spot at all. But these two young guys, they figured it out. They had it was like one of those big hydro volts behind me. I'm not sure if you obviously know the thing. So if you're going up Young Street, remember where the old beer store was? It's not there anymore, where the Wendy's is. So on the very south end of that parking lot, I guess that's the what's that?
No frills.
It's
no
like
name. It's a grocery store. So I was up against their Food Basics, I think, something like that.
Food Basics. I was up against their power volt or hydro volt, and so again, you shouldn't have been able to figure anything out. And of course, these two guys from Newmarket knew exactly what wall that was. I don't have any idea. But again, most people that seek me out just want to say hi and take a picture, and we can't shake hands, but I always tell them I love to be able to shake their hand, and I always thank them from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to do this job. If it wasn't for the subscribers and the people watching my videos, and I'd be shooting weddings again, so or working for the school board still. So
see, that actually leads me to my next question. The entire point of our show is to talk to people who have managed to turn their passions and their love for being a creator into their daily lifestyle. But everybody starts somewhere else. Started before you were actually known for your channel. Right. What did you start off doing, and how did you lead from your day-to-day 9 to 5 into the moment where you finally said, I can do this full time?
Like I said, when I worked for the school board, I was with the school board for 18 years. And that last year I was there, or maybe 2 years before I left, I had these two co-op students, and they were the ones that instigated the whole YouTube thing. They're like, you don't have a YouTube channel? You're not cool. And they were make fun of me. So I'm like, okay, I'll start a YouTube channel. And I thought it was like MySpace. Like back then, when you heard this thing about YouTube, that was just around when MySpace was kind of big, but it was kind of dying out at the same time. But I just felt it was like, it's like a cat video platform, and it didn't interest me at all, really. And then I started watching it more and more and more. And then that's when I started making my own videos. But trying to come up with ideas was crazy, and it's very difficult at the beginning. And back then, you didn't know what to name your channel. You didn't know your channel was going to be a channel, right? So like my first one was my last name and my birth dates. So my original channel is called Domik 1966. Very eye-catching and or ear-catching. So over time, I changed, so I kept that one for the first 3 years, and then after 3 years of watching YouTube and making videos, realizing a lot of the videos on my channel had copyrighted stuff in it, and you weren't allowed to do that because YouTube's always evolving, right? At the beginning, everybody just did whatever they wanted. But then YouTube started cracking down all these rules, and they're like, so I started the new channel, which is called KBD Productions TV. That's when I realized you should call it, give it a name, right? And a proper name. So that's why I came up with that. And then it just kept getting better and better and better. And work was getting more and more stressful. So we had a turnover of bosses kind of thing, or supervisors, and our newest manager or whatever decided to go in a different direction. I love videotaping, and I actually asked for them to keep me in the video part. I said, I'll videotape everything you guys need and edit all of the stuff you need, but I don't want to do this other stuff, which is PowerPoint presentations. I'm not sure if you've ever done a PowerPoint presentation for somebody else who doesn't know anything about building a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know how to do a PowerPoint presentation. And so we had to learn really fast. And then we had these clients come and sit with us and say, okay, well, let's start with, I don't know, 30 slides. And then they'd have no direction whatsoever. So extremely stressful. And I had to take, my YouTube channel was doing I maybe was making, let's say, I don't know, $500 a month. So I wasn't making enough money to survive on, but my wife was working full time. And then I also could do video jobs on the side. And so I started doing my own video jobs plus YouTube. And then all of a sudden my YouTube, that's when my YouTube channel took off in 2012 to 13. And then that's when I would never look back. It just kept going. And I'm still here doing it. And back in the day when I had 800 subscribers, and I'd meet these other amazing, huge YouTubers that with 200,000 subscribers. Back then, if you had 200,000 subscribers, you're a god in YouTube, right? And so knowing those people, and then now my channel is bigger than theirs because they just stopped doing YouTube. And every once in a while, I'll meet up with one of them, and they're like, I can't believe you're still doing it. Congratulations. And you're still somehow making it work. And you're like 55 years old, where it's such a young platform, really. But again,
I was going to talk to you about that.
There's still all these niches, right? So I'm now, there are those young food reviewers, and the young people really gravitate towards them. But I would love to see their analytics compared to mine, because mine is 18 to 55. So I've got this huge older range of people, and they love what I do. And a lot of them, some of them are diabetics, and some people have health issues, and they love to vicariously eat through me, and they don't understand how I can do it. And I said, I don't necessarily eat all the food, and I exercise, and I eat really well at home. You guys only see me eat, that food you see me eat maybe once or twice a week, but they think because they see it on YouTube, that's all I do. I do that 3 times a day. That's what they think. Just because that's all they see on my channel is me eating food. So they think that's all I do. And that's all I do for my job, but that's not all I do every day for the rest of my life. But
it's a good point. Actually, Aurora and I have a lot to do with the Henry's Foundation for Mental Health, and awesome. Their Uncaptured Moments campaign reminds me of what you're talking about. They see only what you want them to see about your life. They don't see all the behind the scenes where you're doing your own thing. You're taking care of yourself. You're exercising to stay fit. It's not just you making YouTube videos. This is your life. This is your livelihood, and you have to make sure you treat it that way. It's a professional career for yourself. So you have things laid out properly. You have, how far ahead do you plan your videos? Like, is this kind of like, I know you said that somebody said you should go here and you packed up and went there, but do you have like the next 5-6 videos planned out before now, or
not even close?
No way. No. It's just kind of run and gun.
From day one on my channel, it is, what am I going to do today? Sometimes people will say, I'll get a bunch of people saying, Henry or Harvey's or McDonald's, doesn't matter. Somebody's got this new item. I'll think about it, and it might take me a few days. If it's really big, then I'll try and get it there as soon as possible. That's kind of why I don't usually plan too far ahead, especially back in the day when I just did fast food, because, McDonald's would release something tomorrow. And so that's what I'm doing. And so I can't plan ahead, because that would just mess everything up for me. So, and it's only, back in the day, it was literally, I could just go online, see what's new, go there, eat it, come home, edit, put it up, done. That's how I could, it'd take me the whole day to do that. And then that would be that one job. Back in the day, I used to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 videos a week, food related. I used to do a Thirsty Thursdays and an Ice Cream Sundays, it was called, on Sunday. So I was doing 5 videos a week. And I remember going to my doctors, and he's like, so if you keep this up, you'll be dead in 3 years. And I said, oh, that was an eye opener for me. He's like, can't you just like not eat all the food? And I'm like, well, people want to see me eat the food. And so I started doing less videos. And then now I'm doing basically one to two a week. And again, that's why I'm trying to do what I'm doing, which is incorporating, like when I do these little small towns and things, I like bring my bike, I get there, I eat something, go for a bike ride, eat something, go for a big walk. And I'm showing people the town and the sights. So I'm trying to make it into an adventure travel show right now, just for my own health and sanity as well. And it's more fun to make, man. Like going to McDonald's, buying the food, eating it, reviewing it, coming home, editing and putting it up. That's became monotonous, right? So and it wasn't super. Oh, I was probably the first person to do 2 cameras in a car too. I had 2 GoPros up, and that was because one time I didn't plug a microphone all the way into the GoPro, and when you don't plug it all the way in, it cuts the sound completely off.
Oh,
and
geez.
so that was when McDonald's came out with the poutine, and so I actually shot it, got home, put the thing in the computer, no sound. I can't do that all the time. The problem with my job is I'm eating food, and you cannot eat food like that all the time. So I'm like, okay, well, that can't ever happen again. So if I put 2 cameras in my car, I might not get the good audio from this GoPro and the microphone, but at least this one would pick up the audio enough that I could get away with doing the show. So from then on, I used 2 cameras, and then after a while, I just got fed up doing 2 cameras. But that was another thing that helped my channel. I had this 2 camera thing, eat here and then talk, and then I'd have audience 1, audience A, and audience B, and people like to kind of classify them as which audience they were, and it was kind of fun.
It's like you say, your channel morphs, you change, you learn something and you adapt, and you keep on learning and growing and doing different things. Yeah. I have an idea for possible food for you. Have you had the box dinner from Metro?
No.
So if you go to Metro and you ask them for the special dinner box, they will do for $20 a whole chicken, a big package of taters, 2 separate of the snacks like macaroni or coleslaw, whatever, and something else too. It's like this big meal for $20, and it's awesome.
Can I cut you off real quick, Brian? He is one man.
It's true. One man. Fair enough. Touche. Shelly and I share it for 2 days, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I have done big food challenges before, and like again, I'm 55, so I can't do that physically and for health reasons. Like I can do it. I'm not very good. I'm not a competitive eater by any stretch, but I have attempted to eat large meals, and like I went to the first time I started hooking up with other YouTubers and saying, hooking up is wrong right now, isn't it? I started befriending a lot of other YouTubers, and when you're a viewer and you reach out to big YouTubers, they don't respond to you at all. But then all of a sudden you become this somewhat big YouTuber, they respond to you, and it's kind of like you're starting to act, and then you send an email to Robert De Niro, and he replies back, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're like, "Oh my god!" Right? So I was just like freaking out. I was starting to meet all these amazing YouTubers, and that's when I did my first tour, which was, I call it the West Coast Food Tour. And so I met up with like 5 different YouTubers in California, and one of them I went from LA to Bakersfield, picked him up, and then drove to Las Vegas, and we ate at the Heart Attack Grill, and and I had the quadruple bypass burger, and he did it in, and I wish I remember how much it weighed. I think the burger was 3 pounds, and then I'm not sure if we had side on it as well, but so it's 4 patties with cheese, and the way they stack it, they have like big, huge, thick cut onions and tomatoes, and the thing is probably stands a good foot tall.
Oh yeah.
He did it in like 7.5 minutes, and it took me 19. And the next day I was hungover because there was so much salt in it that it dehydrated me. Even though I was drinking lots of water to try and help give my stomach something to help break it down and make it not just like muck in my body, the big solid chunk of massive meat. So I was trying to drink lots of water, but
the Heart Attack Grill doesn't mess around.
No, well, that's the scariest. It's not the scariest. The most jaw-dropping restaurant you ever. So you go in there, and all the waitresses are wearing these skimpy
nurse outfits, aren't they? Yeah.
And so you have to put a gown on, like a hospital gown, and then you go and sit at your table. If you order wine, it comes in one of those bags, IV bags.
IV bags, yeah.
Yeah. So it's on the thing beside you, and you have like the thing, and that's where you suck your wine out of that thing. So like the whole thing's like all like a hospital, right? And I think their spokesperson died within the first, 6 months. So, because he was like probably 500 and something pounds. So if you walk in there and they have a scale in the middle. It's like a game. It's like
this is what I was going to ask you. Is this that restaurant where they like weigh, and if somebody's over a certain weight that they eat for free or something?
So that's the scary part. So this person comes in, stands on the scale, ding, 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 over 350 pounds. And everybody's like, yay. And you're like, what the hell? Where am I? This is crazy. They're like glorifying obesity, right?
It's surprisingly legal, like what they're doing. Surprisingly.
I guess the legal part of it is people can eat whatever they want. And what's to stop you from going to McDonald's and ordering 10 Big Macs and eating them?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they're not ringing a bell and saying, "Here, have another."
Everything they have is edible, so these are the portions. So I think they even have it called an octoplet. So it's 8 patties. So, and I think my
friend.
Did
you have to sign a waiver?
No.
Okay.
I don't recall signing a waiver. It is possible. I'd have to watch the video again. But if you don't, if you order anything above the triple bypass. And you don't finish it, then they spank you with a wooden paddle. So there's a
I remember hearing about that.
You have to hold on to it, and they don't paddle whack you. They whack you. They hit you hard, right?
So they don't just abuse your insides; they abuse your outsides as well.
Abuse your backside.
Yay!
Now we're back at the surprisingly legal part.
Yeah, that's the part we had to sign off. So it is in case they draw blood.
Check that off my list of places to go.
This is definitely probably one of the weird places you've been. Have you gone to any other weird kind of restaurants that's surprisingly strange?
In Japan, we went into this restaurant, and the section of the tables was in what looked like a big boat, and all the way around that boat are these ponds and aquariums, and you go and catch what you eat. So you get a fishing rod, you dip it in the thing, and you hook a fish, and then you put it in the net, and then you ask them how you want it, and so they prepare it for you. And so we caught a whole bunch of different things, from prawn to fish to I can't remember where else we ate, but it was just a bunch of things. So that was I thought that video would have done really, really well on my channel, but it didn't do very well. The biggest video on my channel was this out of the way. Like if you were driving down the street, you wouldn't even know this place existed. So a friend of mine who has a big YouTube channel in Japan, his name's Eric from Eric6. I met up with him when I went out there, and he said, well, let's go to this place. It's got these bamboo shoots cut in half, and then they have water running down it, and then they put like a clump of noodles, and the noodles, as they go by you have your chopsticks, and you grab the noodles, and then you dip it into your sauce, and you eat it. And I thought maybe I'll get 30,000, maybe 35, like this because it wasn't anything big, but I think there's a Reddit in Japan, and I think they picked it up, and then it went viral. So I get back home, I launched it, got like 35,000 views, and then it plateaued like at getting 150 views a day. And then on the weekend, I woke up, looked at my phone on the Friday, it went to 100,000. I'm like, whoa. And then woke up the next day, 300,000. And then by the end of Saturday night, it was at 1 million. And so that was my first viral video. And then by the end of the year, like circling back around 365 days, it hit 7 million views. And
wow.
And so I'm like, oh my God, like on the anniversary of the day I launched it, I pimped it out saying, oh my God, you guys are amazing. I can't believe I got 7 million views. And for some reason I got another 1 million views in that week. And so that's obviously my best video. It's got 8 point something million views right now. And
That's awesome.
So it's like a contraption. So the noodles kind of like float along this thing, and you have to kind of grab it and eat it, type of thing.
So the owner of the restaurant
Belushi.
sits at one end, and of course the thing's on an angle. It's a really long. You can have about probably 6 to 8 people on each side of the bench, right? There's 2 slides, so the people on that side. Luckily, there was nobody there that day we were there. The people that were there were eating inside, and so we asked to do this thing, and it's more of a summer thing. And I was there in the spring, and so Eric asked the lady if we could do the noodle slide thing, and she's like, no problem. So they turn it on, and so the water runs down the trough, and then they bring you like this really nice basket of tempura and other really cool items, and then you have this little pot of sauce. But with the way I look at it, I thought it was like a soy sauce. So a lot of people made fun of the fact that I wasn't dipping my noodles all the way in, but I didn't know it was a soup broth. So you're supposed to like literally soak all your noodles and then eat it. But she gets like a clump of noodles and then puts it on the slide, and just that clump of noodles goes by you. And if you suck at chopsticks, then you go hungry.
Do you know the name of the place?
I was shocked that I picked them up. Pardon?
What's the name of the place?
I have no idea. Yeah, if you look at my channel, look for the highest video. We did put a link to it. I think they had a Facebook. I think, but I think I did put the address in there.
We'll have to ask Norm when he's on about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool different foods in Japan. Like vending machines are a big thing. While you were there, did you try that stuff?
Yeah, we found a place. What's that? Back up.
Focus.
Yeah, I can't see it.
That's
do the whole
There you go. Whoa.
Nice.
Cute.
Norm Nakamura from Tokyo Lens gave me a bunch of the stuff from Japan. All these little things you're talking about from the machines, right?
No, they have like hot food. So burgers.
All that too.
They have ramen noodles and and they're all, the funny thing is you'd think they'd be new technology, but it's all like from the 50s. So back in the 50s, like even, I forget what they're called, pixel. So it doesn't have like regular LED lights or anything like that. It has the very, very, very old, they're called pixie lights or something. And so that's all the readouts were like that. And so I did, so I went, I think it was 2018 and 2019. So when I went in 2019, I just kind of hung out with my buddy Paul from Critical Eats Japan, and he took me to this place. I had 43 machines, and it ranged from your typical drinks to burgers and so we did a bunch of videos there. And I think my burger one got about, I think 350,000 views. So I'm pretty happy with that, and the fact that Paul went out of his way to help me show me around Japan, and I wish he was in the video on that one. So we did videos where I helped him videotape a video. So he would do a food review and I'd videotape it holding the camera for him. I wasn't in it, but I was still communicating with him. And then he did the same thing for me. It just so happened that he shot me doing the burger one, and that one is the biggest one for views. But it would have been nice if he was in it, because I'm always trying to help him grow his channel, because he has a small channel. I think he's got like over 20,000 now, which is really nice. It's nice to see his channel growing.
It's nice to hear you say that. There's a lot of YouTubers out there who don't seem to share the same kind of desire of helping other people get started. Have you? Yeah, a little more competitive maybe. You mentioned how you've met up with a whole bunch of different YouTubers in the past. Obviously, those were very positive experiences. Have you had any situations that kind of dragged you down and made you rethink what you were doing, or think differently about the process, or even did it affect you at all, like in a negative way? You don't have to name names if you don't want to.
I wouldn't do that. You have your typical haters and trolls and things like that, but nobody's done anything to make me want to stop doing what I'm doing. It's, you have a bad day at work, you have a customer come in and possibly yell at you, whatever. On YouTube, it's a little different. People will make a video about you and then put that video out to try to bring you down, but it doesn't bring me down, because I have to keep going. So people want me to quit YouTube because they don't like me for whatever reason, but how are you going to make me stop, right? And the best thing about YouTube is their negative videos and stuff actually are what's a free promotion, right? Like they always say, all publicity is good publicity. So whether it's negative or positive, people who don't know me might see that video first and go, who's this Ken Domik? This person doesn't like. Go over, watch my video. Oh yeah, I like this guy. Subscribe. Thank you. So
winning.
And I'm not a negative person on my channel. I'm trying really. I stopped rating food. That's another reason I stopped doing food reviews. I only want to eat good food because if I do a video where the food's bad, people bitch me out saying, "Oh, you're so negative," and you shouldn't have ordered that. And it's just like, well. Every time I do a food review and I like it, and most of my videos are food reviews and foods that I like, because who goes to a restaurant and orders the one thing on the menu that doesn't even look good to them just to try it? You know what I mean? Your brain sticks to things that it knows it likes. And so I sometimes try to think out of the box and order something new, but I forget where I was going with that. Sorry.
I'm kind of curious myself. Have you ever filmed anything and not released it? Just been not either proud of it or realized that it might not get the traction that you want or have the reaction that you want it to have? Has there ever been one of those experiences?
I have. I think there's 3. There's one where I kept calling it chicken throughout the whole video, but it was pork. And I don't know. So there's a restaurant in Wisconsin. Is it Wisconsin? I think no. Yeah, it was when I went to Iowa, and so people told me I got to go to this place. It's got really good food, and they have what's it called? I wasn't sure if it was a schnitzel or maybe it was a cutlet. And my brain kept thinking chicken cutlet, right? But it was a pork cutlet. And I just kept saying chicken throughout the whole video. And I'm just watching the raw footage. I'm like, I can't use this. I'm thinking, maybe I should just do the whole thing as a voiceover. People hate it if it's a voiceover. So it's just sitting in my hard drive right now. So another one, I did the whole video, and I get home, and as soon as I started looking at the footage, I had this big zit right on my cheek. And I'm like, the whole video, all the comments is going to be talking about this zit. So they scrapped that video too. So there's 2 videos. And of course the one at McDonald's where there's no audio.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always funny how as content creators, we have those sort of self-doubts when we try to release things. We might watch something back. And like when you mentioned with the zit, I've done that exact same thing where I've set up an interview, and then all of a sudden I think, oh, no, I can't even present myself. I have to reschedule this only because I know what the reaction is going to be based off of, unfortunately, the way some people can be.
Exactly. So we've learned over the time of being creators, what we can as I'm shooting a video, I know what people are going to say when I do something right or wrong. And so I've definitely manipulated my own career because of knowing how people are going to react to certain things. There are times where I purposely leave things in that I know are wrong. And I could fix it in editing, but I don't on purpose because I know it's going to make a lot of people comment, not necessarily in a negative way, but like I just did a thing. It looks like the word is Ganucci, but it's not called Ganucci. It's like GNOCCII or something, and they're like these little
gnocchi?
Potato
Gnocchi.
things, and I bought them at Walmart. Yeah, right. So, but I called it Ganucci about 8 times throughout the video, but I managed to figure out how to take that word out of every single time I said it, except the very first one. On purpose, I left the first one in because I knew it wasn't a bad thing. I didn't want to do it multiple times to really piss people off. I just said it the once, and then somehow with the rest of the video, I either said it and it was easy to take out in editing, or I just used another word to describe it as opposed to the name of what it really was. I'm like, well, these potato things are really good. You know what I mean?
I love Ganucci's. Yeah,
another thing I love about here's a top secret and piece of information. Not a lot of people know. There are people that do know, but the reason I love video production and editing and stuff is because I'm dyslexic. So reading, and that's why I try to stay away from foods that are like from other countries that I cannot pronounce, because I just get reamed by people saying what are you, stupid? You can't read? You know what I mean? So my whole life has been,
Wow.
reading is difficult. So I don't read. I can read. Like I've managed, I'm 55 years old. I've managed to get this far in life. Like I can read. It's just not, because when I was young and I couldn't read, it made it embarrassing and difficult. So I didn't read because I didn't want people to see that. And then of course that made me fall even farther behind in the world of learning. So that's why from that I became an artist. So my whole life, my mom put me into art classes, photography classes, anything to do with visual arts that I was amazing at. And then over time, I turned all that into film. And I'm not as fluent. I wish I knew all the information that Brian knows about cameras and f-stops, and I kind of know all that stuff, but it's just not fluent. And so that's why I love cameras that are automatic. And obviously I bought so many cameras from Henry's, and like I still have my RP and my M50. My M50 is a great little camera because my wife can use it really easy for a long period of time. It's because it's so small and light, and it does a great job. So I'm Brian said one time, why don't you just use your cell phone? And I'm like, like that. But I just started watching a guy called Van City Van Life, and he's been living in his van for 4 years, and he shoots everything with his iPhone, and he does a great job. It's unbelievable.
It's how you use it, right?
Oh, dude, I bring all my cameras back. Just kidding.
Yeah, honestly, it's as somebody who sells cell phones, it's kind of insane the level of quality that the cameras are on some of these devices now. If you look at like a $2,000 cell phone, they are very comparable to, I wouldn't say a top of the line camera, obviously, especially not in front of Brian and Aurora here,
Right.
But I would say they're definitely comparable to like a DSLR camera and something that
for a lot of
it
things
boggles my mind. Yeah.
And that's the thing that people forget. It's always a specific need that requires you to get a better camera.
Yeah.
Right?
And walking into a store with a cell phone up against your chest. So I've been doing it recently. I've been like, I walk in and I'm like, I press record and I'm like, oh, can I get so-and-so? And the camera is sitting here, right? And they don't necessarily know, but if I'm holding my RP, I bring this into a store, they'd be like, oh, sorry, sir, you have to leave. You seriously walk in with something like that, they'll either ask you to leave or something bad's going to happen. But everybody has them, so they don't even know you're videotaping.
Or they'll even be nicer because they think you're going to report them or something.
If what?
They might even be nicer because they think you might report them or something.
Right, yeah.
Like on camera.
I did a video at 7-Eleven, and that was when I was using the Sony FDR 3000 action camera, and that definitely looks like either a vaping thing or there's something. A lot of people can't believe that's a camera. And everybody,
it kind of does look like a vape.
It's like a small
It
white
has a
tube.
very small.
So I'd hold it like as if it was a vape a lot of times, but I walked into a 7-Eleven and I started videotaping stuff, and then you always can tell when employees and stuff all of a sudden like kind of look at you sideways, and then he goes in the back room, then all of a sudden the manager comes out. I'm sorry, sir, you can't. This was at the beginning of COVID. Sorry, sir, you can't do that. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I said, I'm here to actually promote your store. And I told him what my channel was, and then he secretly let me do it after that. But originally he wanted me to leave the store or stop videotaping in their store until I told him what I don't want to say, but I told him who I was, but I showed him that I've done other 7-Eleven videos and they've all done really well, like hundreds of thousands of views. And so once he saw that, he's like, oh yeah, you're that guy.
Nice.
And so he let me do it. And so I don't like to announce myself going into any situation because I don't want them to treat me differently. I don't want extra food and things, because if I go into a restaurant and they're like, oh, Ken's here, make him this burger, and they make it all super awesome looking, and then Brian goes the next week, oh, I want that same burger that Ken gets, and it's half the size and it's burnt. Brian's going to be like, you're not going to trust me, right? Because you're like, you told me to go there because the food's good. And so I always tell people, please don't give me, if they do notice me and then I realize that they might possibly give me more than I should get, I said, just give it to me exactly the same way you serve everybody else. And I tell them that exact story. I'm like, you don't want people in here getting pissed off because you gave them something different than you gave me.
It's another question I have, special treatment. I know when you come into Henry's, you pay for everything you buy.
Yeah.
You buy everything and you pay for what you buy. I know there's other YouTubers who get sponsored and have all their gear given to them. Is that something that you purposely decided to do? Have you had people approach you to give you the stuff? I know we're kind of running out of time and we have a couple questions to ask you, but Aurora, Ryan, if you guys have other questions to ask, you maybe get those ready. But do you get any kind of special treatment from suppliers or camera makers or anything like that?
Back when Nathan was running the store, I bugged him for days about working together and me pimping out his store if he gave me a GoPro. And I couldn't believe he actually, at one point, he's like, he picks it up and he walks over to the cash register. He starts typing away. I'm like, is he actually going to do this? And so he's like, here you go. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yes. He goes, I get a budget for advertising and you just talk me into advertising on your channel. So I'm like, thanks. And I remember going right back to work and showing, and because I told my buddy that, you know, if I can talk to companies, they could possibly give me stuff for free, and then I'd pimp them out on the products. And he's like, oh no, nobody will do that. And so, and when I got that, I went and shoved it in his face. I'm like, I gotta go, bro.
Nice.
And that's what I made all my roller coaster videos on. So thanks to Nathan and Henry's, of course.
Very cool.
And, so yeah, I don't go out purposely looking for things like that, and I don't mind paying for, you know, I get paid by YouTube and I use that money to buy my products that I need to do it. And if somewhere down the line, Henry's, let's say a couple of years ago, I said, hey, Ken, we want to partner up with you and we want to supply you with all the camera gear that you need, and we want to be a channel sponsor, I would have gone for it. But nobody ever came up to me with that information or whatever. Just recently, I bought it's a solar power generator. So when I'm doing these stealth cams, I need a lot of power to run all my stuff for days. And so I purposely bought the $666 one off Amazon, and then I bought it, made a video on it, sent it to the company. It's called Jackery. And they were so happy with the video, they said, oh, can we send you a solar panel, which are like $330. And I'm like, hell yeah. So they sent me the solar panel, and we're now working on possibly a sponsorship. So you never know where opportunities can come from. Yeah. And I like, and some people like if the jealous people instantly call you a sellout, but if they actually knew what the word sellout meant, like if I love Canon cameras and then Brian says, oh, we want you to pimp out this Olympus camera. And all of a sudden now I'm like, hey guys, check out this Olympus camera. It's the best thing. I'm a sellout because I told everybody I love Canon. I don't want to ever use another camera, but because Brian's paying me to use this camera, that's a sellout. But if I love a product and somebody wants to pay me to use that product even more, then that's not a sellout. That's
making your life easier. Yeah, for sure.
That's business.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of YouTubers struggle with, because a lot of them like want to be able to make the money that they need, and they're approached by all of these brands, right, or these companies, but the content creators that I watch, one of them being Lisa Schwartz, who's actually eventually going to be a guest on this show. She, like you, is somebody who only promotes the products and the services that they actually believe in or have used previously before, if she's planning on doing like a sponsorship. And I really respect that in a lot of YouTubers, because there are people out there that, not going to name names or anything like that, who will just take any sponsorship, right? Because it's money.
Well, you got to have integrity. It's all about the integrity.
Yeah.
But I researched Jackery. I love Jackery. I purposely did what I did, hoping to get a sponsorship from them, and they're working on a contract. And then literally days after that, I got an email from a company wanting me to use this like 2,000 watt generator and wanted to send it to me for free. I don't have no idea how much that would cost, because the 500 one that I bought was like $666. So it's probably a really expensive generator. It looked really nice, but I can't go back now, right? So and I didn't research that one, so I have no idea if it's a good one or not. But I literally get stuff almost every single day asking me to use a product on their show, and I'm like, what's your budget? And depends on what it is. So,
Yeah.
I got approached by Montana, and like people like think that you'll work for food, and I'm not a dog. I need to pay my I have insurance on my cars, and I have cars, I have my house, I have bills to pay. I can't pay that with a free burger.
I got kids.
I got kids. I gotta feed them. I don't want to live down by the river, even though that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't get it under. Some people literally, the people I respect the most are the people that say, "Hi, Ken, we have this product. We'd like you to review it. Blah 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 blah. This is how much this is what our budget is. This is what I want to pay you. Done. Okay, let's do it." But I hate this whole back and forth stuff. Oh well, can you send us your analytics? We want to see what your this and this and that. Why even contact me? Like, you obviously contact me because you think I'll work good with you. You see the views I get, so why? Like, I get why they want to do that, but it's funny how some big companies, I'm talking huge companies, will just literally say, "Hey, Ken, we want to do this. This is how much we want to pay you. Are you good? I'm good. Let's do it." Of course, I love your product. So,
well, because they probably dealt with other people and they've had the experience. I know I've heard stories about Henry's trying to get in touch or work with certain social media people, and the conversations fall apart because one party doesn't know how to talk to the other party. They don't understand what the other party has to offer, or vice versa. And, just that proper communication can go a long way for sure. Explaining to them, "Hey, look, this is what I can do. You've seen what I can do." It makes a big difference. Aurora, Ryan, have you got any other questions you wanted to run by Ken before we ask him our questions, our main questions?
I have one. It might be kind of like a silly question. So I myself I have a little foodie Instagram that I like, and I'm always seeing on these kind of like food pages these food trends. And some of them are really strange and weird and different. What is the most unique or strange food trend that you've tried? Just out of curiosity.
Pastrami.
What's that?
It is a Swedish delicacy. It is raw. What do they call it? Raw fermenting, rotting fish in a can. And if you open this in your house, you will have to demolish the house because it will permeate everything and destroy your house. The smell. When a North American smells this, they will start to retch, or they will vomit immediately.
Oh my gosh!
So a lot of so it's a can, and a lot of airlines will not ship this through their airlines because if it explodes in the cabin, it will wreck the plane. So the challenge is to eat this stuff out of a can. And so I had a Swedish friend, a subscriber. Anyway, so he sent me a can. And so for my 200,000 subscriber celebration, we attempted to eat this can. My buddy Paul.
I was going to say attempted. I caught that too.
Yeah, like how do you eat something like that?
So so it's like, you get your can opener. As soon as it cracks, it sprays. Like a skunk, and it's like getting sewage and a baby diaper and dead rotting fish and just mixing it together, and just the smell is repulsive.
I just keep thinking of stinky tofu. I remember smelling stinky tofu.
Stinky tofu is another nasty thing I've tried. So again, these are all like the strange things to us. Oh, there's also a thing called the century egg. So it's a black duck egg that they bury so they get the duck eggs, they bury them in clay for a month, and then the clay or the egg absorbs the minerals from the thing, and then when you break open the egg, it's like a jelly. It's a solid jelly, and it's black, and it smells like cat piss.
Oh god!
It's had this awful powerful what's ammonia smell to it. So you smell this gelatinous thing, and it makes you retch. Ugh. And then when you bite into it, like the jelly part of it, like the white part is fine, somewhat, but then when you get to the yolk of it, it's just like muck, and it's just. So
we're gonna have to put a disclaimer on this show: do not watch this show before you have your dinner or something like that. I'm supposed to go eat pizza right now, and I'm just
back
like,
in the day, yeah, you'd have a certain type of following, and the following would demand you have a vomit alert on it. So in the title, it would say, pastrami video vomit alert, and that way the people who are sensitive to people retching. It's like a disease, right? It's not a disease. It's I don't know. It's a personality thing where when somebody sees another person throwing up, they throw up. So they don't want to be watching a YouTube video on a train and then they see somebody retch. Now they're going to be right. So some people and then other people didn't want to know, right? So again, there were YouTubers who specialized in eating things that could possibly make you throw up or maybe not throw up. So those people gravitated towards those channels, and they don't exist. And they don't exist anymore. And if they do, they don't make any money on it because YouTube's taken all away. They don't want people throwing up. They don't want people you can't do drinking games anymore. Anything that could possibly harm somebody and not even harm them. Like they just don't want kids to try this stuff. And
it's good. You got to take some responsibility.
Yeah. So my cinnamon challenge video has been demonetized. So it's still up, but because people have choked on it and died. So, and the chubby bunny. Remember the chubby bunny? It's you put the marshmallow in your mouth and you say chubby bunny. Chubby bunny. Put another one in your mouth. Chubby bunny. A kid died because he choked on the marshmallows. So some people can, I don't know. Once something bad happens, then it just changes everything, right? So
I just see that as survival of the fittest, personally. That's just me, but
my son and I survived it, so we're good.
There you go. Problem solved. All right, Ryan, anything that you want to ask Ken?
My only question would be, you mentioned earlier that you're married. Have you ever involved your wife with any of your videos? Has she ever shown interest in being in them? Is it something you guys have talked about?
She's really shy, so it took a long time for her to get. She's never done a food video with me. She's done like a little cooking segment where as she was cooking something, I'm like, I love this meal that you cook. Can I just kind of hover around you and videotape it? And then we put it up. I'm not sure if it's on my big channel or my vlog channel. So there are certain things that my wife will be in and some things she doesn't want to be in. When we went on our Hawaii trip a couple of years ago, like her and my youngest son were in everything. So I vlogged the whole family vacation, mainly for us. But it was also fun to make it as a vlog and share those experiences with everybody else. And then another member of my family didn't want to be in any of it. So I literally edited all that stuff out. And then I put it all back in when it was all said and done. And I made like these big video files that my family can watch with everybody in it. But of course, the ones on YouTube has been edited. So
nice.
Certain people don't want to be in it. Some people don't mind being in it. So Carol doesn't mind being in it. Sometimes depends on what it is. And as long as she knows ahead of time and I don't surprise her throwing cold water over the shower, that's not going to fly. Really
no white prank videos are coming up to your channel anytime soon.
No white prank videos in my head. Happy wife, happy life.
I understand that battle.
Aurora, did I answer your question about the trendy thing?
Yeah. Like, there's like the challenge trends, and then there's also like the unique kind of food combinations. I watched one of your videos a while back of the pickle pizza. The pickle pizza. And
there you go.
Because that was like a big trend going around. And that was kind of interesting. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you try it?
I haven't tried it yet. I'm probably going
it's
to.
Good.
It is good.
Pickles.
And you
I don't hate pickles anymore. I told people way back in the day because I'd take pickles off everything, and people are like, why don't you just order it without the pickles? And then other people believe that if I went over to Brian's house for dinner and he made a certain meal and I started taking stuff out of it, that would insult Brian. And he made it a certain way because this is what he likes and this is what he served me. I should at least take one. Everybody said, Ken, at least take one bite out of it before you take something out because you never know. And then 1 year, I think for my 50,000 subscriber video, I ate a whole jar of the sliced pickles and drank all the brine. that was my own challenge. It wasn't good, and I wrapped.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. But I told people, I said, you know what? Over time, I will like pickles because that's all it takes is repetitive. Because people love pickles, like love pickles. Back in the day, I hate pickles. I don't know what it is, the sliminess, the texture. Like I don't mind the pickle juice tastes good to me, but the actual pickle itself is just this. But having it on pizza is awesome. And then the first thing I had that I went crazy for was I had to drive to the States for the Nashville hot chicken and at KFC. And so I remember getting there, and that was when I, again, was listening to my subscribers saying, Ken, when they serve it to you a certain way, at least try one bite. And I'm like, okay. So I got the serving of chicken and had all the pickles on the top. First time I'll try one piece. So I took all the other pickles off, threw them in my bag, picked up the chicken, ate the chicken with the pickle on it. And literally, guys, the pickle makes it what it is. And I was just like the expression on my face was like, oh my God. And it basically turned out they didn't give me enough pickles because I ran out of pickles before I ran out of chicken. And the chicken tastes great by itself, but the pickle just totally made it. So that was that big eye-opening moment in my life where you got to at least try, even though you don't like a certain item on your food, try it when somebody serves it to you a different way because you might actually like it. And so from now on, anytime I have anything hot and chicken, it's got to have pickles on it. And so I actually started going back into them. I called them garbage pickles, going back in, picking up the garbage pickles and putting them back. and so that was a fun moment in my foodie career.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I like pickles, and that's when I started seeing like the pickle, what's it called? The pickle pizza. I'm like, okay, that might be weird. I've had deep fried pickles. So hot pickles is kind of like an interesting kind of combination. And then I'm like, pickle pizza. So I saw your video because I didn't really see anybody else who had like a review of it. Yeah. And I watched it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm probably going to try it. I just haven't got around to it yet.
In my video, I said to people, I said, order the pizza, like, especially if you have like a few people over and you're going to order a few pizzas, make one of them a pickle pizza. And everybody gets to try at least one slice of it. So at least you don't waste the pizza. If you ordered the pickle pizza and you took your first bite and then you had to throw the whole thing out, that's a waste of money. But if you bought, it's 8 slices. So if you had 8 people over and you had the other pizzas, at least you have food for later, just in case the pickle pizza doesn't hit it off for you. That was my recommendation. I said, it tasted great. I said, I possibly will never, ever order it again. It was fun to eat, but I'd rather have a nice, meaty, savory mushroom pizza any day of the week over. I like trying new pizzas. Like there's Pizzaville has this spicy potato pizza, and that's freaking good. Like every once in a while, I think I should order that again, but my brain gravitates towards, pepperoni and mushroom, because that's what I want. Right? If I'm thinking I want pizza, I want what I like.
You realize I'm like waiting to go have my pizza dinner right now. Like this whole talk of pizza, I'm just like, oh, I want pizza.
So many people have to go and eat after they watch my videos, or they're eating that food while they watch my videos, which I can't believe. Anyway, it's such a strange thing when I get emails from people saying, especially people with depression or whatever, and they're like, how much you helped me over the last year, and it's just like, really? It's like I just eat food for a living and just try to have fun in my car, and then I help people. It's like, wow, that's weird.
You never know what your wave, what your ripple will do, what your wake will do in life. Right. Like you're doing something that you think is just helping you in one way, but really all these other people are taking these different benefits from it, just like any kind of art that anybody makes, right?
If anything, I thought I'd make people hungry and laugh, and that would be the motion range right there. But people like send me these like heartfelt emails. Like I couldn't read it to my mom. I had to give it to her, and I said, "You read it," and she was bawling by the time she finished it because this person was their life was so changed by me helping them through my videos. And again, I don't even know. It wasn't like somebody asked me to help them. I just do these videos. They watch them, but somehow it helps them. It's like,
well, you do more than that. You've also raised a lot of money for sick kids. You've also done a lot of, all the time I see you doing things to try and help raise money for certain causes. So, you're using your platform for the right reasons. And I've known you for a while, and I totally thank you and appreciate you for all of the videos that you've done. Every time you come into Henry's with the camera on me, I'm always a little bit excited. It's like, oh, Ken's coming in. He's going to be on his podcast, his vlog. It's really cool what you do, and you've got such a great attitude and approach about everything. So thank you. Thank you very much for keeping so humble and keeping, having a good time and making your full-time job a fun thing for yourself. I mean, that's super important.
The food bank's my number one, because I eat food for a living, and there are so many people in this world who literally don't eat food because they can't afford it. They have children. They have to pay all their bills. At the end of the day, mom and dad can't eat because they don't have the money to eat. So that's why I wanted to turn what I do into helping people who can't eat, and also did stuff for breast cancer, because a friend of mine passed away of breast cancer. And so we raised, I think, over $2,000. I think it was $2,400 for breast cancer on that situation, and got her skydiving, and that was one of her last wishes. So we fulfilled that. But again, I love trying to put food on people's tables through what I do.
That's an awesome way to do it. So questions, and then we're going to say goodbye to you. First question, we issue a challenge. I don't know if you had a chance to look through the email that I sent you. One of the questions is, we have our guest issue a challenge to our viewers, something that you think may help them in their day-to-day if they want to get into YouTube or do something like you do. What kind of challenge could you issue to people watching or listening to our podcast?
I have no idea.
Do you want to get back to that after I ask you the other questions?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What's your jam? What song gets you amped, gets you waking up in the morning? What song can you listen to anytime, any day, and not skip forward? Something that really just touches you every time you hear it.
Back in Black.
There you go.
Nice.
That's the one that gets me going. Billie Eilish right now is like, I don't know. This is something.
Polar opposites there.
Yeah. So when I first saw her on Hot Ones, you ever heard of Hot Ones?
Yeah.
It's a YouTube channel where they go through all the different hot sauces, and they have super amazing huge stars on the show. And she was on that. I'm like, oh, who's this? Oh, it's Billie Eilish. Okay, I've heard the name Billie Eilish. I thought it was a guy. Not that I put the music and that. I just heard the name thinking that was a guy, but then when you hear this person on the radio, I didn't know that they were associated. And then I put a face to it. I'm like, oh, so I went online and her music totally changed the last year of my life, because she's such and then she won every award at the Grammys, and you're like, oh my God. And she did it out of her bedroom, where all
with
these
her
other
brother.
big stars. Yeah, and so all these other big stars, have millions and millions of dollars behind them in these studios, and here these two kids do it in their brother's room
with talent
and just asking questions on the internet, and basically the world helped them build this album. And so she's my go-to right now. But when it comes to motivating myself, it's AC/DC and reggae. I love reggae. Reggae is my jam too. Anyway,
cool. Good choices. All right, next question. Tools of the trade. Now, you've seen all the videos, like people who have photography videos, whatever. They always open their camera bag and they say, hey, this is what's in my bag videos, whatever. We didn't want to do something like that. We want something where what's one thing that you can go to as a skill or an idea or a thing that really improves your day-to-day career?
I guess my iPhone now. For knowing that I can shoot, it took me that one YouTuber who I've met now through online to see that's all he uses is an iPhone, to know that I could shoot as good as him. He does take a lot of care. He doesn't just shoot with his iPhone. He gets in there and he tries all the different angles, and he moves, and he has a special little tripod that he's rigged up. So he does put a lot of effort and time, and that's another thing I guess I do too, is I'll be at a location and I'll be sitting on my cot in my van, and I'm just about to go to sleep, and I'm like, dude, you forgot to get the exterior shots of the van. And a part of me is like, people won't notice. And then I'm like, dude, do it for the fans, make the video better. And I'll literally get out of bed and get outside, make sure nobody's around, and get out my camera and videotape all the different angles of my van. So you have this little music montage. And then I put my GoPro and the thing on night lapse and videotape myself for the first hour. And then I get up an hour before I wake up, do another lapse, and then I put it all together so it looks like it's a overnight lapse, right? And just to show that progress, and it's nice soft music. And I just have to keep reminding myself to get those extra B-roll shots to make the video that much better, and people do appreciate it. So I hope that answers the question.
Maybe that could be your challenge too. Get the extra B-roll shots.
Get the extra B-roll. You can always definitely have too little B-roll. You can never have too much B-roll. Although too much B-roll sucks, because sometimes you're like, put it all on the timeline and you're like, oh, this one's good. This one's good. This one's good. This one, oh, you got to take out some of it because now it's an hour long of B-roll.
Yeah.
I got a bit too much B-roll that time. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a separate challenge, or do you think that'll work for you?
Yeah, let's go with the just make sure you get lots of B-roll and make your videos that much better. Because especially when a lot of times when I do a vlog, it's just me in my car driving from A to B, and I'll talk for 10 minutes about things that have happened yesterday and the day before, and I will, that literally could take me 10 minutes to edit that together, but I'll often take about 2 hours, because I'll actually go back through those days of those videos that I shot days ago and put those segments into where I was talking B-roll on top of the stuff. So it literally entertains people, because they're seeing what I'm talking about through visual, as opposed to me just driving and talking, and that's boring. So putting B-roll over top of you talking, it makes your video so much better.
Definitely keeps the interest up, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. I can't thank you enough. I told you we'd be on for an hour, so thanks for the extra half hour as well. Appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to tell our viewers or listeners before we say goodbye? Anything you have coming up that you want people to pay attention to, or anything like that?
A lot of people wonder, well, how I can eat the food I eat. I always say, don't eat the stuff that I eat every single day. Have it once in a while as a treat. Make sure you get on your bike, go for a ride, go for a walk, and eat well on the days that you're not having those special meals. So you have your cheat days and have fun on your cheat days, but eat well on the other days. I'm trying to make sure people understand that I do eat well at home.
Perfect. And stay away from the heart attack burger.
And stay away from the quadruple bypass burger.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't eat that every day.
Awesome. Ken, thank you so much. Aurora, Ryan, anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Thanks,
I just want to say thanks, Ken. That was an awesome time. I'm looking forward to checking out some of these videos, because I know I'm a huge fan of YouTube. I spent a lot of hours going down that rabbit hole, so I'm very excited to check that out.
Check out my Buc Ees video. You'll like it.
Okay.
Buc Ees in Texas.
Yeah, Texas love their Buc Ees.
Texas.
I think we're going to title this show, Texas Loves Their Buc Ees.
Yeah, the Buc Ees in the title, you'll get a lot of Texans watching it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Ken. Ryan, Aurora,
Thanks,
thank you
guys,
as always.
and
thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
Okay, now here's the real good stuff. I'm glad that my text was open, because I literally just started a possible 3-hour live stream. and I just, like, within probably 40 seconds of me starting it, your email came through. I'm like, oh, so I had to apologize to 150 people that I just screwed up. And
oh no.
I have to go. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but you could also then tell them that to stay tuned for the podcast that's going to air, and they could watch that when it comes out.
I will definitely share that on my YouTube.